Start this community meeting today at 2:05. Chief, could you do our call?
Yeah. The most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the rain. We just thank you for the time to take care of the business of the tribe. And we just thank you for the leadership. We just thank you for all the blessing you bestow upon our nation. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And Sheila, could you do roll call?
Yes, sir. Dick Blake.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Don Garvin.
Honey.
Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Tex Jordan.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Denise Taylor. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vesquez.
Ani.
Walking Stick. Ryan Warner.
Honey.
We do a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for approval of minutes.
Make a motion to be approved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
On reports, Marcia Lamb.
Good afternoon. I don't really have anything new to report. We're real busy, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Okay. Sean Crittenden.
Marcia, we talked a bit earlier
Yeah.
about Stillwell's human service needs. So, you know as well as I do how hard that lady's working. I'd like to get a budget, maybe to try to get her some help. If I could see that.
For another advocate.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Marcia, I noticed in your report that you said you have 18 vacancies. Are those are you actively trying to fill those, or are they just there?
The vacancies,
Uh-huh.
we're trying to fill them as fast as we can. Is there one in particular you're talking
No,
about?
I just seen that you had the 18 now.
No,
I didn't know if they were just placeholders or if you were actually trying to fill them.
Yeah, we have them come through every day that I sign off on. And we had one in J today go through, so, we'll get them on board.
Do you know if any of those vacancies are in Stillwell?
I'm sorry.
Are any of those vacancies in Stillwell or Adair County?
Maybe in CDC. That would be the only one.
If you would email me what those positions are, and if no one's applied, I'll see what we can do.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you email all of us that information and where they're located, where the jobs are located?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak up.
Can you email all of us that information and where the jobs would be located?
I will do that.
And we appreciate it. Thank you.
All job openings?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Sure will.
Brian Sanders. You got him covered?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll do that right now.
All right.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Qualls?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's a great day. Billy Hicks wanted me to let you guys know he's in Lenapaw this afternoon, meeting with the mayor and the DEQ about the possibility of adding a water and sewer project to the list that he has. I've been working, studying real hard on the new 2002. It's a Title II, Part 200. We have some new regulations that we're going to have to go through, and so I've been working on those. Be happy to answer some questions if you have them.
Harley?
What's that pertain to the Title II 200?
It's regulations. The federal agencies are having all their administrative requirements the whole shooting match all combined into one. They're trying to combine them into one major piece of legislation.
Okay.
And we're lucky as far as HUD goes, because one of the major things that they're changing is procurement. And they're going to use the HUD procurement policy, which we're very familiar with. Yes, sir.
I have a follow-up question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ron, do you have, does water and sanitation still have those CHR positions in their budgets yet? I
Yes.
remember they
Yes,
did.
they do.
Do you happen to know how many CHR positions? total?
I'm gonna say that there, as far as a position, I don't think they're, have them as positions. They still have CHR funds.
So we get the funds, yet,
Yes.
don't they? And they probably don't call them CHR anymore.
No, they gotta get a different name, but yeah, they get the CHR funds.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Buell?
Thank you, Chairman. Ron, now that you answered that question about the CHR funds, I've had this person been called, trying to get a septic for almost 4 months now. And I can give you her address and her phone number. She's 74 years old. She's still bailing out her water out of her sink, carrying it out because the septic won't drain. And she called me this morning on the way down here to Talcott. She's actually got a water hose now hooked up to her washing machine and running out the door where she can drain her washing machine. But this has been going for 4 or 5 months, and I know she's turned the paperwork in and everything else. Why would we be, she's 74 or 77, I can't remember. But shouldn't we get on something like that if we?
Yeah, yeah. If you'll give me some information about it before I leave, I'll check on it for you.
And I told her I was gonna be at a meeting with you guys, so I'd find out if we still have those CHR funds.
We'll see what's going on.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Sean?
Mr. Claus, Councilor Buzzard was telling me about the CHR.
Mhm.
An example he gave, septic tank, needed pumped, minimal, if any, paperwork, just send them out there to do it. Is that right? Is that kind of what they did or used to do?
I think that's, I think they had, in the past, that they have done stuff like that.
Well, I'm interested. So we got funds for it, right?
Well, I don't know that we have funds sitting there for, to go fix someone's septic tank, and we're calling it a CHR project. And I don't know hardly that we can just send folks out, just,
They were funded positions, what they were, and I don't know, like if they're gonna charge for the truck going out there or not, but those were just funded positions, what they were. And what I mean by that, they had funds to hire 2 people to be in those positions, but
Oh, so those
Didn't
weren't the
include-
funds you were talking about?
it didn't include materials and stuff like that, unless there's some extra funds, but I don't know that. But I know they were funded positions.
CHRs in the good old days, I guess we're probably close to the same age. We actually had CHRs that would go pick up folks, take them to the doctor, take them to the IHS. Yeah, that's what it originally was, and it's changed a lot now.
What is it now?
It's just money, and how we spend it, then that's in the budget.
I'm
But
interested in,
it's-
like, kind of what we're getting at is that, the elder needing that work done.
Yeah.
I might have been mistaken, but I'm interested
Yeah.
how we get that back going. Can we?
I don't think we can get it back to the, well, of course, we could, but to get it back next week on a CHR and 2 CHRs and a truck and going out and working, I think that would take a total budget change on how we're doing stuff.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we can't help someone with the sewer system problem, like, we certainly can do that, and that's one of the main things that we do.
And it goes with the
Between-
other money. CHR fits in with the other money.
I guess I'm not understanding that with the other money.
Can I help that?
Sure.
I think, and this probably changed, but it's been 10, 12 years since I've been over there in that program. I believe the way we used to handle it, those 2 CHR positions were funded specifically for positions, and we use tribal funds if we were gonna go out and do work for people like you're talking about. If they had to have a hot water heater or a sink or something like that, then we use tribal fund to do that. That gets you away from a lot of the paperwork that was required for that if you were using government funds.
Still use the tribal funds.
Yeah, we were using tribal funds at that time. And it's for small items like the stopped up sink and stuff like that. It wasn't for, complete plumbing for a house or something like that. It was just for small.
But they were
items.
employees.
Yeah, they were Cherokee Nation employees, but they were funded to the CHR program. I'm not sure where those dollars came from, but those are federal dollars, but we use tribal dollars if we had to buy materials. So anyway, Ron, could you check and see
Sure.
how that funding goes now, whether if it's just for employees or is there some extra funds for materials? So,
Yeah, we'll get that back to everybody.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ron, do you guys have a pump truck now?
Yes.
Sounds like you used to have. So
Yeah.
You do have?
Pump truck.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. And there's Mr. Cooper.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Gary.
Let's see, just a couple of things that I want to be sure to announce. I know that there's been a couple of times I've mentioned that we've been without a permanent leader. There's been someone acting as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Office of Native American Programs. I'm happy to announce that, let's see, I met with her on Thursday, so she had been on the job 7 days as of then. Her name is Heidi Frechette. Heidi is the new Deputy Assistant Secretary. Heidi is Menominee, has about over 20 years of experience in Native American Indian law, legislative affairs, and she's been a HUD employee for quite some time. Known Heidi for a long time, worked with her on a number of different levels, and even though Heidi isn't Cherokee, she is married to a Cherokee citizen from just out in the Welling area. So we are glad to have Heidi on board, and I think that she will be a positive change in D.C. for us in Indian country. I think that's the main thing that I wanted to mention and bring up. We've been working really hard, and Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and the speaker and the council members who's serving on our work group. I think we've had one meeting so far, and I think we've had I think that was very productive and very informative. And I think we have another meeting scheduled for later on this month, and I think we're able to go through and get some things done and actually have some frank conversations, kind of off the record of some things that I'm happy to share with folks. Other than that, we've had rehab over at the Housing Authority for just a little over 90 days. We've made some huge changes. We've worked through a lot of the backlog that came over. We're moving in a positive direction. We still have a few more things to get through, but we've seen a lot of positive changes. I think that we'll continue to see those in the days, weeks, and months to come. And I am sure that I'm very sure that as we get through there, we will see a huge change in the amount of time that it actually takes to get the work done. We've made some temporary assignments from office staff to doing closeouts, so we can make sure that, as jobs get completed, that they're closed out. We've made some temporary assignments as far as field staff goes, so there's some more staff out in the fields that's actually able to do work. That's one of the things that we found. I think, Mr. Chairman, up in your area even, we found that where a job had been bid out like 5, 6, 7 times, and no one was able to get out to it. And so, we sent a crew out to get the work done. I want to thank Diane Kelly and Career Services for what they've done. Is we've actually been working with them and set up a training program with some of her staff to where she is, we're training folks to do some jobs that they have the capacity and ability to do. So we've seen a lot of positive changes occur, and I think we'll continue to see that done over as we kind of move through this. So it's a lot of folks working together is what it is, and want to thank everyone involved in that. And we're also working to make a final move of some office staff, and that should be able to be done here shortly. So I think that we're heading in the right direction. Other than that, I think you have our report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you.
Sounds good. Mr. Garvin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gary, when a person has a new house built.
Yes.
He's in there 6 months and he gets transferred out, what are his options? Rent it, sell it, or?
They have a couple of options. One option, and are you talking about transferred out like because of work?
Yes.
Okay, there's a couple of options. The agreement that they have with us actually allows for two separate things to be done. One is a sublease, and a sublease is something that's temporary. It's usually for 12 months at a time, and it's usually for a maximum of 3 years. So the house is still technically theirs, but they tell us someone who they want to live there. We approve them to live there in place of them, and they basically sublease it with our approval to that individual. So that's one option. The other, and so that's more of a temporary type option. The other option is an actual assignment, where they actually assign it to another qualified individual. In most cases, it's a family member. And family member is a pretty broad area. It could be a cousin, but they assign it to a family member, and that's a permanent fix. So we can do it either way, and a sublease is usually done for reasons related to employment, education, or in some cases a medical reason.
You didn't mention putting it on the market or selling it.
Now they can certainly sell it. The only requirement that they would have is they would have to pay us back whatever it costs to build it. Less whatever they paid in.
Would they know what that is?
Sure. Their agreement also has, that's another part of their agreement is at any time that they want to, whether it's the day after they move in or 29 years after the date that they move in, they can request a payoff from us, and it will take a little bit of time, a few days to provide it to them, and they'll provide it to them, and they'll outline in detail what it was. And it goes back and we look at what it cost, how much they paid in and everything.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Victoria, and then I've got Harley.
Just a quick one. Would you tell me again Heidi's last name and what
Frechette.
it's spelled, please?
Heidi's last name is spelled, don't get me lying to you, but I do have it written down here. Frechette, F-R-E-C-H-E-T-T-E.
And she is, what is her title?
She's Deputy Assistant Secretary at HUD for the Office of Native American Programs.
Thank you.
Good thing is as a Deputy Assistant Secretary, she is a career employee and not a political appointee. So they survive administration to administration.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Harley.
I got a couple of questions.
Sure.
I know Leona Allen retired at the
She did.
J office. Who's in charge up there now?
For the time being is Shirley Blackbox.
And then the West Silent Spring housing, we moving people in over there now?
I don't believe that they're finished yet. I think the last report I got, it was around 65-70% complete.
Okay. And then we talked about schools donating land back to the housing authority. And I was going to find out from the school attorney.
They need to contact their attorney because they're not allowed to do that. I can't tell them that, but they need to visit with their attorney.
Well, they're supposed to give me an answer for it. If they do, I'll be back in contact
Okay.
with you on
Sure.
that. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. Sean?
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
just follow up to the question we were talking about.
Yes.
Before you get the call. Now, employees, can they respond to council?
if they have an answer. The problem is, the one that you had sent was actually not related to rehab, it was related to another housing program. The person lived in one of our rural rental homes. So that doesn't go through rehab, that actually goes through our housing management department. They live in one of our homes, they don't own a home. They live in one of our homes. And actually, our Stillwell office, our housing management group, was working with them to get them to sign a work order and repayment agreement to do the work, because it is subject to a repayment agreement.
See that,
so-
all of that time, there was, no one
And
responded to me, and one of those guys that I emailed,
because I think part of it was they was trying to find, because they didn't have anyone with that name. Yeah, and that was part of the problem.
there was nothing portrayed, and the main thing is, this lady was waiting for an answer. But if,
And actually, whenever she had visited with the staff over in the Stillwell office earlier that day, they had given her an answer, and I don't believe it was the answer that she wanted,
well,
but they
see,
did give her an answer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And I would
Yeah.
like to know that.
yeah.
And, so if they can't contact me, I'd like a person that you designate that that will get back every time.
Sure, and that's, and one of the things that I did do is make sure that folks knew, folks who generally are in contact with me on a regular basis, is that I would be out. It may take, a little bit longer than normal. Usually, it could be late in the evening before I can get a response back, because I would be out. But and that particular individual was not elderly, was not handicapped, was not disabled. So technically, they wouldn't have been eligible for a window AC unit
Well,
for a loaner.
well, they had kids, and anyway, H&H Pond had one, so they're good.
Yeah,
But that was a days long with just crickets. So
and
I would like someone to
Yeah.
keep in contact when I'm trying to get somebody an
yeah,
answer.
and just so you know, anyone who lives in one of our houses, it usually takes between 24 and 48 hours for an emergency work order to be completed. And it depends
And I
on
could have told her
exactly.
that if I'd have had that.
Well, and that's what she was told in the Stillwell office earlier in the day. And that
She
was,
didn't, no one told me that.
Yeah.
That was.
yeah.
I was-
And the people you had sent the information to wouldn't have known that, because they were still trying to track down that individual person, because it was their understanding that it came in as a rehab, and that wasn't the case. And they probably didn't know to check another program.
Somebody who does know should relay that to me, then I could tell her where she needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were in the dark.
Yeah, and one of the things that, I cannot stress this enough, and I know that a couple of you that I've said that to, is, especially if someone is needing some work done, especially if it's an emergency or something like that, if we can get them into our office. That is the easiest way, because the thing is my staff is trained that whenever folks come in, and we've seen this several times, and it works, whether it's they need emergency rental assistance or whatever the case is they leave my office that day knowing that they have everything turned in, or knowing a list of exactly what they have to turn in. Because that was one of the other problems that we've seen somewhere else, is someone went to an office other than ours to turn in an application, and all of the stuff wasn't there. And that's the biggest delay that we experience, is with not getting folks the right information. If we can see folks, if folks can call us, we can get them that information right then, and we do it every day. Someone calls us up, hey, if you bring this, and this in, then, and come in, we'll help you fill out the office. If you can't come in, let us know. We'll send someone out there. And I know there's been a couple of times up in your area where we've done that. And that's the biggest deal, is that instead of going through, you know, a middleman or someone else is
I
for,
know that.
for us to have that upfront conversation with them at the get-go, and they know exactly what it is that they need.
Right.
And there's, you know, no question, because even with the one we was talking to earlier on in the week, even the information that I told you and that I told someone else, because the lady kept calling someone else other than my staff or me.
This was a different one.
Yeah, it was a different one, but this is just an example. She still didn't bring in the right information. We went ahead and took it, but it still wasn't what we asked her for. But we made it work. But that's the biggest problem is being able to communicate directly with the folks we need to communicate
Yeah, I
to.
know
So
that's best. A lot of folks were out this particular thing. All I'm asking, I know all about the hoops, but
and the
just a day's worth of emails, I would like someone to tell me.
And the
to
problem is
answer me.
too is a couple of the people you sent the email to were out the day also. So
Someone.
that's the biggest
Someone.
problem. And the other deal too is, and I know most folks do this, a copy of it goes to Canaan, and whenever Canaan gets it, that's who we relay the information to. And Canaan knows if I'm out, if I don't get a response back, who to send it to. And that's one of the other things that I might want to be sure to stress is if Canaan can be copied on that.
Yeah, I think I ran out of room and CC'd so many people.
I know on the initial one, there was only a
Everyone
couple
always hit
people on.
reply all, but that, I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing a heck of a job. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
But I would like a response every time.
Yeah,
from
and-
somebody.
And we will get a response back just as quickly as we can,
Thank you.
as time permits.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I just have a comment.
Yes, sir.
On the work group,
Yes.
I know you guys have just had one meeting. Maybe by this next meeting, when you meet again, would you share with us what resources that this committee or council might be able to support you with to improve what we're working on right now? You know, some of these projects, these houses, if there's something we can do from our end, then let us know.
Sure. I think that's something that we can do. And I will tell you that probably the best thing is we've been able to have some really frank discussions
Okay.
on exactly what it is that I have going on that a lot of times I can't share
Sure.
in an open public meeting. And I think just, you know, folks knowing that, hey, we've got a plan in place. And kind of here's what we've done, here's where we're going, here's what we plan to do. I think that's made a huge impact. But yeah, I think we can.
And we
can share some
probably
information.
need to bring C&B in on this as well. They have some of the purse strings that we may need.
Okay.
But once this work group decides, you know, that's what it is, then we'll move forward with it because it needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon,
Afternoon.
committee. I'm going to start this afternoon with some of our more active construction projects. First of all, 10 Killer School Road here in Cherokee County. The contractor is working on that. They are behind schedule. We have met with them. I think I mentioned it even last month, but they are progressing. Although it being a little slow, but they are progressing and getting through that. We had a modification over on the CNI Industrial Park. We're having to realign a drainage channel. We've let that project out to a contractor out of Muskogee who'll be working on that. But basically, it's tying a drainage or a box structure that goes under US 59 highway over towards a box structure that we put underneath our road just to make the drainage flow better and not pond up so bad as we've seen some ponding out there in the recent rains that we've had. So we'll get that addressed. It's just a drainage project. On the 26th of May, we held a public meeting for Sally Bull Hollow over at Bell School that evening. It was a public meeting for what we call our 30% plans. Had a good turnout. Had a good good reception from, or I should say the community members were very receptive of the project. If any of you have ever driven down that area, I'm looking at Councilor Crittenden because I know he has. If you've driven down in that area, it gets pretty bad. The parts towards the end of the project, actually the road is the drainage channel or the creek that they're driving through. So we're working on that project to try to get it taken care of, but it is about 30% design completed. Rocky Mountain School Loop Road has been awarded to Glover and Associates, and we've got a pre-works meeting scheduled with the contractor on June 22nd, which is next week. And then also J. Kenwood Road, which is the road that we repaired or replaced the 4 bridges on. That road has been awarded to the overlay of that road from the Kenwood area all the way out to 5910 Highway. It has been awarded to A&A Asphalt. They're out of Tulsa, and we actually have a pre-work scheduled with them on tomorrow, and we'll get an idea of better idea of when they plan to start and get their required submittals and such turned in. On May 20th, we held a road cleanup. We selected, as a department, the Barber Road and Dry Creek Road here in Cherokee County. You know, it's always interesting to me. This is the second year, I believe, that we've done this. We'll go out and pick a road to go pick up trash on, and gets the department out of the office, some of the office staff, I should say, out of the office, and gives us a kind of a day out in the field. And but Barber Road was a project that we completed back in October of 2012, so it's a little over 3.5 years old now, or close to 3.5 years old, and it is amazing how much trash builds up out there in that 3.5 years. We had a mountain of trash bags. We had a couch, a toilet. We had just everything you can imagine we had out there. And I want to give some credit to Cherokee County District Number 3 Commissioner Cliff Hall. Cliff was gracious enough to send a dump truck, and we were able to load the trash up, and he took it to the landfill and disposed of it, or the solid waste transfer station, I should say, and disposed of it for us. So thanks to him and his crew. But our folks had a good time out there, and as crazy as that may sound, they did have a good time, and we got a lot of trash picked up. On the 7th of this month, I attended a Tribal Advisory Board meeting to the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. We hold those meetings quarterly. Got to hear from ODOT, the Executive Director of ODOT, on the budget situation here at the state level, and as far as how they're being impacted. So that's always interesting to hear how they're doing and what some of their plans are. And then also I've been working with C&E as far as the Grove Casino goes, and the sewer line extension project from the city of Grove out towards that property where they're constructing the casino. They're having to cross Sailboat Bridge, as well as construct the sewer extension in the state right-of-way. So we've been coordinating the efforts between C&E and ODOT as far as that goes. Had a meeting on that this morning there at Division 8 in Tulsa. Last thing, Mr. Chair, I would like to mention, in my office, Debbie Nodine has been out of the office for quite some time. Had some family medical issues that she's been dealing with, but I'm very, very happy to say that she's back today. So today's her first day back. I'm glad she's back. Look forward to having her back, and she may be a little slow getting back in gear, but I know I talked to her this afternoon before I come over here, and she'd been locked out of all of her accounts and such here at the tribe. She'd been out so long, but she's got all that reestablished, passwords and everything reset, but she is back. For those of you that might have submitted paperwork to Sherry Waters in the past, those now will continue or go back to Debbie as they have in past months. So glad to have her back, and Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay. Harley Buzzer.
You just updated me about the Grove Casino, so I'll go over there, Michael Lynn, but I got a question about our fencing. I know at one time you were pulling fencing out of those contracts. Are you still doing it? Giving a Terrell vendor a chance to bid on those things?
We have not pulled any fencing out. That was discussed at some point, but we had never did pull those out of that contract. that fencing still remains part of the prime contractor's responsibility at this point.
And the Kenwood J Road, when do you anticipate, of course, you don't know when they're gonna give you a start date or a completion date yet, do you?
I'll know something tomorrow. Know something
Email
tomorrow.
that to me.
I will.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Frankie?
Michael, any progress on getting a start date for Malloy Hollow?
I don't have a construction start date, no. I know I had 2 staff members meet with utility companies, I think it was Rural Water District, maybe one other one out there last week. But I don't, as far as a construction start date, no, I don't have that, but I know we're getting closer to looking at utilities and getting those relocated. Still, we've got to go through the right-of-way acquisition process, but before we start the right-of-way acquisition process, we've got to get the environmental completed. I know the environmental is underway. I just don't know exactly where we're at as far as percentage-wise, but I would say we're better than 3/4 of the way getting that approved or signed off on and completed, so.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Used to drive a bus over that Sally Bullet Hollow Road there.
Okay.
How I trained those boys for track. The only way.
That would have been a good one to train on.
Any progress on Johnson Prairie?
I would have to contact the commissioner. I know the commissioner's been sent a notice to proceed on that, but I'd have to find out. Since that's a commissioner project, I don't have a lot of information on it, but I know he's been sent all the information he needs to start.
Okay.
I'll
good.
follow up with him and let you know.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Harley?
Yeah, Michael, I forgot to ask you about that. I believe it's West 380 Road there in Jay that I sent you an email about. Have you had a chance to look at that? I'll have to go back and find the email. It's north of Jay, just past the Fair Barns. I believe it's West 380 Road.
That's going to tie something together, right?
127 to Highway 59.
Yeah, I believe we responded to you, and I don't believe that was on the system at all. It's not on the Tribe TTP system at this time, no. No, but it's something that, if we need to take a look at it, we will.
Yeah, well,
I believe Mr. Endicott replied to you.
Okay, maybe.
But if you didn't get it, I'll be sure and get it to you.
I think I did get something from it, but I think you probably qualified to put on the system.
Okay, we'll definitely look at it.
Okay, all right.
We
Thanks,
may need to get some information from you, but we'll look at it.
Okay, all right.
Anyone else? Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you,
Good
Mr.
job.
Chair. Thank you.
Shay? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello?
We have a copy of our report, and the only thing that's real interesting, I think, on it that might catch your attention is that we provided income tax preparation and filing for 1,799 individuals between the months of February and April. It's a little bit more than what we've done in the past. If you'll notice on there, it says the average tax refund is $1,600, $1,672, which may not sound like a lot of money, but then when you look at the average adjusted gross income of those families, it actually comes out to about 6.5% of their annual income in a tax refund. So when you see things on the chopping block like earned income tax credit, people who don't depend on their tax refund to get by annually don't think it makes a whole lot of difference, but when you consider that it could be 6.5% to 10% of someone's annual income, and they're relying on that to pay bills and to pay utilities and to buy school clothes and vehicle repairs, it makes a big difference. So keep that in mind when you see things regarding tax cuts to low-income individuals. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Good, that's good on the tax refund.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Child welfare. Nobody's here today, I don't think. Child welfare. So we're going down to old business, none pending, new business, none pending. Does anybody have any announcements? No announcements.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.